How we doing, YouTube? Shout out all my dukes and duchesses. I have a really funny, interesting video for you today. 5 things that men still don't understand about women's basketball. Over the course of all of my basketball commentary, basketball reactions, takes, I seem to come across 5 common comments throughout all of my content. Every single one of them can be easily debunked. The first thing, again, these are comments that I get a lot on my videos, takes, reactions, commentary, and this is me debunking 5 common things that men still don't understand about women's basketball. Check it out. Alright, the first comment that I see, women will never be better than men. Obviously, women will never be better than men at basketball. And the first thing I want to say to that comment all the time is, that's not the point. I mean, at least athletically, and we know that men are better than women at basketball, especially from an athletic standpoint. So, my question to everybody out there who says that is, why is that your litmus test or measurement? Because there's a lot of reasons why you should be watching women's basketball, and almost none of it has to do with the athleticism of how they play the game. Again, that's not the point. Women will never be better than men. Sure, yes, you could say that about the game of basketball, but we watch the WNBA specifically for half the amount of games as the NBA, so it is extremely competitive and the stakes are always higher. 40 games compared to 82. That means every single game in the WNBA is that much more important, and it counts that much more towards their overall record in terms of getting into the playoffs. You know, you lose 15 games, it gets really seriously bad for you as a WNBA team. So it's very competitive. That's one reason why we watch the WNBA. Another reason why we watch the WNBA is for the strategy and the defensive intensity of the game and how the game is called. It's a very defensive game. It's a very strategic way of playing basketball. And you would know that if you watch the WNBA, but since you don't, well then, you know, that's obviously why you're saying women will never be better than men. The second thing that I see a lot of in the comments, and this also goes, you know, in the podcasting basketball world in general, is they should lower the rim so that women can dunk. And, you know, whether that's lowering it to 9.5 feet or 9 feet or whatever that is, if you ask any WNBA player, they're not going to say that they want that or that the WNBA game would benefit from a lowered rim, because yeah, there'd be more dunks, but all of the shooting would be really weird with that much lower of a rim. We all know that. So I don't think lowering the rim so they can dunk more is the answer, and I honestly don't think that even if the women were dunking, you know, out of the gym on a 9-foot rim, that would help actually sell any more tickets, and it probably wouldn't bring you as a male viewer and audience member into the seats. So, you know, maybe for experiment's sake in different leagues that could be tried, but I guarantee you that if that's done in the WNBA, that's not going to sell tickets, and it's not going to help improve the women's game either, or expand upon what the women's game can possibly be. They're so bad at the game and they're boring to watch. Well, sure, again, but this goes back to my first point. That's if you're judging the WNBA and the women's game of basketball from just an athletic standpoint, because obviously women are not more athletic than men. But if you switch on a different lens when you watch the women's game, and again, appreciate it for different things and appreciate it for the way that they approach the acumen of basketball, then you will understand why it's actually really enjoyable to watch women's basketball again, because if you're just watching it for the athleticism, you're missing the point. So this one's really funny. They say, I get a lot of this, they play worse than 6th and 7th grade boys. Now, that's honestly really silly, because any WNBA team would destroy a 6th grade boys basketball team or a 7th grade boys basketball team. I mean, that's quite obvious. Any women's college basketball team would destroy a 6th, 7th grade boys basketball team. Any high school varsity women's basketball team would destroy a 6th and 7th grade boys. But I mean, unless we're talking like the kids that get funneled into Oak Hill or whatever as 7th graders, and they're playing maybe the freshman girls at a local high school, then yeah, maybe you have a point there. But when it comes to professional women and WNBA players, I mean, that's just an odd thing to say, because you know that's just unequivocally false. You know that WNBA players would not lose in a 5-on-5 matchup against 7th grade boys. I mean, that is just canonically silly. Okay, the last one is always a very interesting, weird, bootstrappy type of just like classist thing that I always see, again in my comments. I'll have to bring out my phone to actually read this one, but they should be lucky they make anything, considering no one watches or cares about the WNBA. Now, okay, as a diss, sure, I guess there is some truth to that, but the reality is that they do earn they do get what they earn. In terms of TV ratings, in terms of actual tickets sold, you know, their salaries range from about $50 to $80 to $90,000 per season, per year, depending on, well, I mean, there's a wide variety of factors. And then there are some outliers with that, though, with the women who have shoe deals, sponsorships, brand deals, collaborations, all that sort of thing. The WNBA women who are more of like in the celebrity section of the approximately 400 and some WNBA players that there are. But they still make a really good salary. Could they be making a lot more money? Absolutely, and that's the whole point about talking about women's basketball, is that every time you talk about women's basketball, especially from a positive standpoint, you're trying to grow the game of basketball, you're promoting the game of basketball, and for the women specifically. But they should be so lucky. I mean, I don't know. What would you rather have them do something else? Do you think that there should be no professional women's basketball league that exists? Do you think that they should be only making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000? Because that is bizarre. You know, and if you think that, let me know in the comments below. Oh, hold on. Before we go any further, shout out all my Dukes and Duchesses. How we doing, YouTube? Welcome to Wilhelm Duke's channel. Please, before we go any further, like, subscribe, comment, but definitely please click that subscribe button, and then make sure you have all notifications set on, or make sure you have your notifications set to all. So go ahead and click that subscribe button. Please like, please comment, please share this video. Thank you very much. All right, back to mine. So just to review, what the 5 things that men still don't understand about women's basketball. The 5 common statements that lack nuance. 1. Women will never be better than the men. 2. They should lower the rim so they can dunk more. 3. They're so bad at the game and boring to watch. 4. They play worse than 6th and 7th grade boys. 5. They should be lucky they make anything, considering no one watches or cares about the WNBA. Again, I feel like through my rhetoric, I have debunked those not only false statements, but really when you read them, they come off as feelings. Outside of the, obviously men are more athletic the way they play the game of basketball. But other than that, I think Wilhelm Duke knows what he's talking about. Shout out all my Dukes and Duchesses. Shout out YouTube. Appreciate you tuning in to Wilhelm Duke's channel.